Hello guys, welcome back. Yesterday I forgot to commit before I signed off the video. So if you did not commit the last change um before you start on this video, you should commit the changes so you don't lose any work. Just commit and push to dev. So let's look at dev. So this was yesterday, and we were able to add properties. So what we did yesterday was we became able to add properties to our um, application. I'm going to go ahead and open the application now, but before we do that, the plan today is that we want to be able to display properties that we have added to our application, and then we want to restrict who can add the property. So currently, if anyone navigates to our application, they can go in and add a property, but we don't want that, right? We want only the system administrators and probably people with a role that is as an agent. So people with an agent role to be able to add users or add properties, sorry. So random people shouldn't just go and add properties, and that's the intention. So those are some of the things we'll do today, how to make sure only certain people can access certain pages. That's called authorization, and then that's the general plan today for today. So let's just get into it. Before I do that, I will just confirm that the recording is I'm still recording. All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and open the project now. Remember, as always, if you have questions or you need clarifications, you can still reach out to me. So I'm going to open it up in VS Code now. Okay, awesome. So like I said, we want to display the I'll close this up to give me more room. We want to display the houses that have been created so far, and we're going to be displaying it here. Where is it? We're going to be displaying it from the properties controller. So controllers, properties controller. We're going to be displaying it here. So when someone comes to the index action, we should return a list of all the properties. For the home controllers action, we're going to be displaying a list of properties, but we're going to be displaying other things along with it. So things like featured properties and all of that. So we're not going to use this just yet. Let's just display our properties here. Let's see, I think we already added a page for properties, which is our index.cshtml. So currently we just show, no, sorry, which is the index.cshtml for the properties. Currently what we're showing, let's go ahead and run this. Sorry, we have to navigate to the web project. Oh, sorry, I need to go to the source folder and just take app.web, and then I can say .NET run. Meanwhile, I'm going to open up our template, so just have it open because we're going to be picking some files from here, picking some HTML from there rather. All right, I'll take this URL and just put it here and navigate to /properties/index. So here's where we want to display our properties from our database. Let's start from the code. So before we start working on the UI, let's start from the code. So the first thing you should do is ask yourself, what's your process? So beyond just learning to code, I'm going to open my sticky notes. Beyond just coding, right? Software engineering is a process thing. You have to be able to think through, okay, what am I about to do, and what are the things I need to do to get there, to get to my end result. So let's do this, right? So let's see, what do we want to do? We want to display we want to display properties from database to web page. Great. And what are the things we need to do? Just very high level, get properties from database and display on page, right? And display on page. What are the things I need to do? I already have a service class, so I can add a method to get properties in property service class. Great. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go into my estate app web project, and I'm just going to add one more thing here, and add methods to get property in property service class. Add inject property service class into properties controller, and then pass also get list of properties, get list of properties from property service class, and then finally pass list of properties to view. So let's look at what I have outlined here. So first of all, what do I want to do? I want to display properties that's in my database to the web page. And how do I do that? I need to figure out a way to get those properties from the database to the web page. And here I say add method to get properties and property service class. What do I mean? We created a service class yesterday. This is our service class, and we have one method in this service class, the add property method. So what I mean there is, let's come in here and add a second method, public async task. For right now, just leave it as an async task method. Get all properties. It's not going to take anything for now, and we just know that we need to return a list of properties. Awesome. So how do we get these properties? It's actually really simple. All we have to do, we already have our DB context here, so all we have to do is to say return underscore DB context dot properties. Let's see. Okay, so let's have this. Now we're saying our method is returning just a task. So we need to change it for our methods to return an enumerable of property. And so we need to import a using statement here, and that's it. Let's see. We probably have to change this to. So let's take off the task and just return an enumerable property here. And we don't need the async because we're not doing any await here. And that's it. I feel like I'm missing something here, but if it was an error, I'll figure out what that is. But basically all we're doing here is we're just returning all the properties in the database. Now in a real production application, you wouldn't simply return all of the properties in the database like this. We would want to paginate. So if we have millions of properties in the database, we don't just return all of them like this. But for this for this sample app. We're going to evolve it. Later on, we're going to look at how do we paginate, how do we return properties on various pages. But this is fine for now. We just want to be able to display this on the what's it called? We just want to be able to display these properties on the page. After doing this, we're going to come to the controllers, the property controller, and we're going to come in here and say we have already, and the next part of this, I said add the methods to get property in the property service class, which is what we just did. This is a method. And the next thing there is inject property service into properties controller. We already did that injection. So this is where I talked about dependency injection because we needed it for the add. And the next thing on that list is get list of properties from property service. So I'm just going to come here and I'll say var properties equals underscore property service dot. Okay, so we need to add this to our interface. So we need to add this method to our interface definition. And we're going to right click on iProperty service and go to the definition. So I'll put it here. I need to import the using statement. Now, there are a lot of things I am deliberately overlooking here because I feel like there are nuances that you don't exactly require at this stage. But we're going to, we're going to do a pass through over everything we've implemented, and we're going to do some changes, and I'm going to show you why we are doing those changes, and then it's going to be easier to understand. But for now, put this here. And then we're going to come in here and use this property service. Now we're going to call into that method that we created. And what's going to happen is when we call into this method, it's going to come here, and then call the database and say, hey, give me all the properties in the database. And then it's going to return it to the controller. And then we can pass it to the view. We can then pass that property to the view like this. Now, how do we use this property in the view? Let's come to the view, properties, and index. I'm going to come up here and say at model is enumerable of property. Okay, so I think I should fully qualify property here. So let's go state app data entities property. So that works. Great. I'm going to do something before we add the HTML. I just want to make sure what we have here works. I'm going to now display all the properties to the page. I'm going to leave properties page here, and I'm going to create a for each block. For each item in model, because we know now that our model is a list of properties, right? So I can say for each property in model, we know that our model is an enumerable of properties. And I'm just going to be putting HTML on the page. So right now I'm going to say h3, and I'm going to say new property. You know what? Let's use the properties title. So at property. Now this is me using C# within HTML to display stuff. This is called razor. So this whole syntax I'm using is called razor, and that is why our file extension is not the regular HTML. It's .cshtml. ASP.NET Core allows you to use your C# in your HTML like this, so I can just access all of these things. So how did I make this work? All I have to do is I'm going to get a list of properties, and I'm going to pass that list of properties to the view just like this, right? And then after passing it in, I can then come to the page create this model declaration so the page is aware of what to expect, and then I can do this. I think I should add a check here and say if model is object. And I'm doing this just so we don't have any errors. Though it's unlikely, but I'm just showing you one way to guard yourself against errors. For example, let's say if property returns null, or if for some example at some point properties equals null, if at some point our property is set to null and we pass that null property to view, if we just try to iterate over it without checking if it's null, we're going to have an exception here because it's going to say, hey, this is not a list, this is actually null, but you told me to expect a list. So I'm just putting this if model is object. And another way this can be written is if model is not equals to null. But I think C# 7 or 8 introduce this syntax where you can just say it's object to check if something is not null or if it's an object. So I'm going to say if model is object, then I want to print out those things. I'm going to come here and remove this so I don't forget. And I'll come to my index page. And now I can print out details about the properties. I can say property.title. So the first thing I want is the title. And then I can just probably put a HR, horizontal line. And then I can print the rest of the things relating to this property. I'm going to copy this p tag so I can just continue pasting it and print the rest of the details for the property. Property dot. Now notice the @ sign I'm putting in front of it. That is how I tell my Razor that okay, this is C# code. So @ differentiates C# code and regular text. If I simply put property here, you see IntelliSense this doesn't work. IntelliSense doesn't kick in. Now I am not working on the property object now, but immediately I use an @ property. Now I am working with this property. Before I was working with just a normal string. So I can say property dot, the first is property dot title. The second is, let's display the price here. Next, that's property dot let's display the address. Next, that's property dot what else was there? So let's display the contact phone number. And let's leave this here for now and just test it. Eventually we're going to put the proper view on this and do a proper display. So let's test this. I'm simply going to stop this and run it again. Okay, let's just, I think the URL should still be open. And now when I come to indexed, you see I have, oh, there's an error here. But I have fully furnished duplex in Lekki Peninsula. This is the price, this is the address, and this is the phone number. So I can get this into my view. I just need to style it properly. Before I do that, let's come to our HTML. I have an error here. So I didn't start my if with the @ sign. So it didn't recognize it as Razor, and that is why it displayed it here. If model is object. So that is because I didn't start this with the @ sign. I forgot to do that. I'm going to stop this and just run it again. And this time we shouldn't have that. So it's gone. Let's go ahead and create a new property. So index/add. And let's just add a new property. So this time I'm going to say newly built bungalow in Asaba. That's my place. Property price. Houses are not as expensive, so the newly built bungalow, you can get a decent newly built bungalow for maybe 250,000 naira. So if you're looking for somewhere cheap, this is not, I'm just advertising. Probably move to Asaba. phone number can be +2345674, just random. Next, so property description now. It is fully furnished bungalow in a serene environment. So number of rooms, let's say number of rooms is say 4 rooms is decent. Number of baths, let's say each room has its own bath, then the guest bath, same thing for toilets. Well, let's say 4 baths, then a guest toilet. We can next it address number 45 Bonsack Street, Asaba, Delta State. So I'll go next and finish. And then you see, immediately I clicked finish, it came back to the property page, and you see I now have 2 properties on display here. So now we're able to display these properties out to our view. That wasn't that simple. All we had to do was go to our property service, add a method to it. That method, make our interface aware of that method. We usually do this in reverse. So you usually create an internet interface definition and then you implement the method. But I'm kind of doing it in reverse now, just to help you guys understand and keep the complexity low. You inject that interface into your controller. You get the properties with the method. You pass those properties to the view, and what else? You simply iterate over it. So you use a for each loop to loop over the properties, and you print out each of them using the style you want. And that's it. This is the view we have. I'm going to go ahead and commit, so I don't forget to. So git add.git commit can display properties from database, git push origin, and that's it. But we have a problem. I can add properties even though I am not logged in. So this means anyone that navigates to my application can simply come here and say /properties/add and just add a property to my application. I don't want that, and this is where authorization and authentication and authorization comes in. This is where we went through the whole problem of ensuring that people can create accounts and all of that, really. So let's do that. And how do we do that? Doing authorization in ASP.NET Core is really, really easy, and that is one of the benefits of the framework. It protects you from why are you not gone yet? So it protects you from a lot of low-level details that you really shouldn't worry about, at least yet, in my opinion. I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to come in here, open all the properties controllers. What do we want to do? I don't want it to be possible to add a property if you are not signed in. So all I have to do to get that behavior is to simply do this. I'll just add authorize and put the namespace. So I don't want you to be able to hit this action if you're not logged in. All I have to do is just add this authorize attribute on it. I'm going to add an authorize attribute here too. And crazy that I forgot, so I'm going to put the HTTP post attribute here too. So with this now, let's go ahead and test if I can add properties without logging in. So we're going to run this. Come back to the page, go to add, and it's trying to redirect to the login page. Well, I don't think we configured this correctly, so let's just go in and configure it. Well, what happened is it just tried to redirect to the login page, but it didn't find the login page in the correct position. So we have to fix this. But then what the major takeaway from here is we cannot navigate to that page because we can't log in. Very quickly, let's come in here and see, okay, /account/login. And we named our own accounts controller. So there are two ways we can fix this. We can simply rename this controller to account controller instead of accounts controller. And I think I prefer this fix. But I need to be sure that we're not breaking anything by changing this to account controller. I don't remember right now if we're going to be breaking anything. We're obviously going to change the title of this folder too. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So we're going to rename this to account. Remember the view. I'm starting from the view folder because this is the easiest one to forget. So rename the view folder to account. Rename the controller. Let's take out the S on the controller. A different way to do this is just to right click and say rename symbol, and I can now change it from account to account, and it will just go. Okay, renamed it here, renamed it here. It just renames it in a bunch of places where it should. I'm going to rename the file too. You don't have to rename the file for this to work, but I like to keep things consistent. So I'll rename the file to account controller. Awesome. Let's stop the application and run it again. Let's try this one more time. Let's try to create a new property without being logged in. Same thing. /account/login. That's weird. Let's click login ourselves. /account/login. Can't find that page. That's interesting. Okay, that's weird. Let's try /account/register, see if that works. Okay, so what could be the problem? You know what, I'm just going to use my own video. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the video from when we implemented this feature and see how we implemented it. So I'm going to search for Abava. And let's just see. Let's just see the videos in the playlist. We're going to go to registration/login and just keep ahead of this. So if I say error messages, awesome, and then I can just return the view. So I return the same view that user tries to log in with whatever error happens that made them not be able to log in. But then if it did succeed, so if login did succeed, then I don't need all of that. I can just Okay, so we use slash accounts slash login before. Why can't I hit slash account slash let's go ahead and try slash account slash login. Oh, okay. The view login was not found. Okay, so I realize what's going on now. So even though that was pretty silly, but I should have caught that. So even though I renamed the controller, and all of that, I didn't stop the app and rerun it. So it was still running in the old context. So if I run it now, and this time it should be fine. So slash account. Okay, that's weird. Account controller. Oh, it wasn't saved, so one unsaved. That was getting really mysterious. So account controller, but I forgot to save the file. So I have the file saved now. I mean, if there's another gotcha, it's going to be really surprising. But so guys, I think this just shows that anyone makes mistakes. And let's see if we still have the error. Okay, so slash account slash login works well now. Awesome. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the properties page. So let's go to properties slash index. We can see the properties fine. It's pulled this out of our database. Well, now let's go and say slash add. And you see it brings us to the login page because you can't add a property without being logged in. But if I log in, okay, so I don't think it recognizes these details. I'm going to go ahead and create a new account, which is going to be done as slash account slash register. I'll just use these details. And okay, I don't know what password that is, but it should be fine. It says that it's already taken. Okay, let's just use a test at test.com. I'm going to use dev for the password. I'll say dev at 12345. It's my favorite dev password, dev at 12345. And I'm going to say register. I'll save it. And now if I go to slash properties slash add, it doesn't tell me to sign in because I'm actually already signed in. Now I just realized that when we changed our layout page, we undid the work we did. So all the work we did on authorization and authentication for these buttons, we actually undid all of those things. I'm going to quickly redo it. So I just realized because normally we're supposed to see a logout button here, not login and submit. But remember we changed the layout page in the last video and we forgot to retain that change we made. I'm going to simply go into the, what's it called? I'm simply going to go into the repo. I'm going to check my commit histories. And this is one reason why Git is really great. I'll check any of my commits before. So these are all my commits yesterday. So I can just go to any of my commits before yesterday. And the file I want to see, I'll just say browse files. And I'm browsing files from the past before I changed it. So this is now I'm no longer on my dev, I am on a commit. And any files I am looking at are now going to be files from that time, not my current change. So I'm now looking at files from that period in time. And you can do this too. So now I'll come to the source, I'll come to the web project. I want to look at my view shared. And then I have layout to CSHTML. So I'm going to open up layout and I'm looking for the part of it, the part where I handled authentication. Give me a second here. I'm just going to, okay, so here it is exactly. So this Pasha underscore login Pasha, this is the exact line of code that we use to create that functionality. If you don't remember, you can just go back a couple videos and watch it. I'm going to stop the application and just open up the layout page. Let's just make that quick, a very quick change. So shared layout, and let's see what exact part of the HTML we made that change in. Made this change at div class. I'm just going to pick up all of this and just search for it in my own HTML. So Ctrl F, I'll paste it in, and I have it here. And so I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I'm not going to debug it. I just want to know where to start cleaning code from. And then I'll look at the last line under it. I'm going to take this and I'll come here and still Ctrl F, put it in there. And this is it. So this is what I want to clear. I'm going to clear out this. So I'm taking out those two buttons. And what do I want to put there? The Pasha. Now, if you don't, once again, if you don't understand what we're doing here with this Pasha, you just need to go back a few videos. Now, this is a Pasha. This is a Pasha, and all we're doing in this Pasha is we're checking, hey, if the person is logged in, display a logout button, but if they are logged out, display either a register or a login button. That's what we're doing. And then we're taking this Pasha and we're putting it in our login page with this line of code. I'm going to run this and that should fix that. Okay, and this time, where's the page? So add. And this time when I hit enter, you see, because I'm logged in, I have this log out button here. And now if I hit log out, we need to make some changes to our Pasha because we changed that name. So if I come to the Pasha, ASP controller, we want to change this ASP controller from account to account. So I change this to account, and what else? I don't know now if there's any other place we need to change, but if you can think of, okay, here's another one. Or if you can think of places we use the accounts, you can just, I'm just going to do a search here. Accounts. Account service. You can change all of this to account service if you want, but I'm just going to leave all of it. Once again, I'm going to stop and run my app. I'm going to go back, and I'm still logged in because that didn't work, but this time hopefully I'm logged out. Now that I'm logged out, if I go to /properties/add, it should tell me to log in. I'm going to go ahead and log in once again and add a property, and I'm going to add a property just to make an illustration. Oh, you know what, I'm not going to add the property now. I'm just going to leave this for a different video. Now, we don't want every logged in user to be able to add a property to our application. Not every user has the right. Certain users should be able to. So users that are agents, so agents that actually go out and look for available houses, and then the system administrators themselves. That's the next feature we're going to be looking at. And doing that is actually very easy too, but first we need to be able to actually create agents. So right now, anyone that signs up in our app is a regular user, and to do that, to change the user status, I think we're going to do that in the next video. But for now, we just know that you can't add users to our application if they are not signed in. But what I really want you to take from this is this authorize property, or authorize attribute rather. So this authorize attribute, and that's how you restrict people that are not logged in from hitting an action. You can put authorize on on a controller. So if I put authorize here, now if you're not logged in, you won't be able to access any of these at all. And to illustrate, I'm going to say Control C and .NET Run. So once I do this, if I come to /properties/index, so the page to even show all of the properties. No, that's not right. I'm going to save this and run the application again. Okay, that's weird. Let's take the authorized property of these guys and see if we can hit them. And just leave the authorized property on the class itself. I'm going to run it once again. And I'll try to hit index. Okay, that's weird. So ASP, I'm just going to do a quick research. That used to be different. ASP.NET 4.3.1 authorize attributes on class on controller. Nope, this wasn't it. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find out if that behavior changed. So once I add authorize on the class itself, then you shouldn't be able to hit any of the actions. Let's see, I'm just going to I'm just going to take a look at my controller one more time to see if there's anything I'm overlooking. No, I don't think so. Well, you know what, I'm going to come back to this later. So I'm going to get some clarification. I'm going to do some research, find out why this no longer works like this, and probably just share. But I shouldn't be able to hit this controller with an authorized property on it. Oh, that's weird. Okay, that's really weird. Oh, sorry, I am actually logged in. Okay, so probably not having such a great day today. I'm actually logged in, so I'm going to log out now. And this time, if I say /property, so I actually wasn't going crazy. And this time it redirects me to. So now I can't even access the what's it called? I can't even access the index. Right now, I can't even access the index action, even though I don't have an authorize on it. And this is usually the best way to do your work. So by default, make everything on the controller inaccessible to a logged in user. And then if there are parts of it, and with this, I can now take off the authorize from these ones. And then if there are methods or actions within that controller that you want to be accessible to people that are not signed in, you can add this, allow anonymous. So this now allows people that are not signed in to access this particular controller, and every other controller in that class will be restricted by default. I'm going to stop this. Run it again. And this time I'm going to come to, I'm still logged out, so I'm still logged out. So I'm going to come to /properties /index, so I can view properties now, but /properties/add should fail. I shouldn't be able, I should be asked to log in. So that's another way. So put authorize on your controller, and then if there's any action you want to be able to, for unauthenticated users to use, you can just put allow anonymous in it. I'm going to go ahead and commit these changes. And I can go back to my repo and switch back to dev. So now when I switch to dev, you see this file has changed to, and now I have partial here. So that's one of the powerful things about Git. I can go back in history to the very beginning of this project and pick codes I deleted. And this is why it's advised to not put sensitive information inside of your in Git, because if you put sensitive information in your code, like keys or passwords and all of that, even if you delete it and you commit, someone can go back in time, literally in your repo, and still see those things that you have deleted from your current commits. So that's one thing you should be careful about when you're opening up your repo to the world. All right, so now let's make this look good. So we haven't put a nice UI on our index page. Let's go ahead and put a nice UI on our index page. To do that, I already have the template open here, and once again I deleted the other one, so I'm going to create another temp file, tmp.html. I'm going to open it up with VS Code. Great. So which of these property pages do we want to use? I think I would prefer to use the first one. So I'll just copy paths. Let's see what it looks like in the browser. Okay, I mean, this one looks cool. This one looks really good. So I'm going to copy it. So we need to figure out what part of it we want to copy, right? And I'm sure you're getting used to the flow. Now we need to go check where our layout file ended. I'm going to start from closing everything. So source app.web, views. Let's look at our layout. And we're looking for the part that says render body, and we know we're copying from nav to footer area. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to search for the end of nav /nav. And this is it. So I'm copying everything from here up until footer area. And of course we're going to have to edit this. But for now, let's just copy all of this. Okay, so we just stop just above footer area. I'm going to copy it. I'll put it in my temp file, so VS Code automatically formats it properly for me. And then I'm going to copy it, take it to my, what's it called? I'll take it to the properties folder. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I'll take you to the properties folder, open up the index page, and I'm going to leave all of this up here. I just paste it down here. So after pasting that, let's comment this. Okay, let's just leave this here for now. I'm going to run this. I want to see how it looks. Sorry. So I want to see how it looks in the browser before I actually start editing the HTML. So slash properties slash index. Okay, so this is the part we had before, and this is our new. Notes all the issue with the pictures is because we haven't added copied the pictures from that file, or we've not edited some of the HTML. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to search for assets, and we need to just put the tilde in front of the assets as usual. So I'm going to replace it with, I'll just say replace, oh that's 40, that's a lot. I hope we didn't break anything. Well, I'll go ahead and save this. I mean, there's nothing we can't fix in code. There's nothing we can't fix in code. And I'm just going to run this again, see how it looks this time. And now it has all of the images, but these are not coming from our database, right? This is just, all of these are just static HTML, and we want to change that. We want to display the properties that are actually coming from our own database. So how do we do that? We need to figure out which part of this HTML has the properties. And one good way to do that is to simply pick one of the properties and search by the name. Or I think they're all the same, just different images. So I'll just take this super nice villa, and I'm going to say search for super nice villa, and here it is. And I need just one. I need just one of these really. Okay, this is a super nice villa here. This is not the one I want to work with. How many super nice villas? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know I need to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the part I really want to work on. Let's see. Now these are brackets of properties. So each property starts here. And again, this is going to be different for every template that you use, right? It's not all the same. So you need to look at the template and figure out how the template works, or how the template was coded, or if you're given the HTML from a UI person, you'll probably be easier because he can explain stuff to you. So I really just need one of these, right? And I can clear out all of the rest. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take this out. I need just one property left here, and I'm simply going to clear these. Nope, I didn't open you, and I'm just going to continue until so that works. I'm going to save this and verify that I have just one property on my page now. Great. Let's see. Good. Now I have just one. Now what am I going to do with this one? I'm going to move my loop into this HTML, literally. How am I going to do that? This looks weird. Okay, it's okay. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to take off this H1. I no longer need it. And I'm simply going to take this part and I'll cut it. After cutting it, I'm going to come down to that single one property I left, the HTML, and I believe this is it. And I'm going to put my loop here. I'm going to put my code block here. And first of all, I'm going to say, then I'm going to take this HTML for this single one. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it in here, inside of my for each loop. And I'm sure some of you can already tell what I am trying to do here. I'm trying to use this HTML to produce many of it. It's like taking a cookie cutter and making several cookies out of it. So I'm taking this template and I'm going to just duplicate it all over the page. Great. And I can start changing things in here now. So the property, I think this is the name of the property. So here I can just say at property.name or at property.title rather. And this is the area. We don't have an area, so we're simply going to leave the default area. And for the price, we're going to say at property dot price. What's going on with IntelliSense? That's weird. I'm going to save this, close the file, and reopen it. Laser usually has this issue sometimes, so close it, reopen it, and at property dot. Okay, so it's fine now. Property dot price. Let's see. I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to put the description in there. I'm just going to put the description here. But let's hover over it and see if it doesn't do anything when you hover. Interesting. So I'm just going to put the description here. I'll put the description here, and then I'll just leave all of these images. So let's clear this. I don't think we're even showing the phone number here. We're not. So I'm going to clear all of this. And I'm going to clear this too. So this was the initial one. This is the one we copied. So we don't need it right now. We don't need it anymore. So I'm going to clear it. And just do a little formatting on my HTML here. I'll save it, and we can go ahead and test this. I'll stop it. .NET run. Then when we come to index, we see we now have two properties. So we have fully furnished duplex in Lekki Peninsula, and we have newly built bungalow in Asaba, the two properties in our database. So we're actually reading this from our database. This is 250,000, and this is about 1 million naira. So because we don't because we don't have what's it called yet, because we haven't added images. I think we're going to do adding images in the next video, but because we haven't added images in our for our own properties, we're just using the images that came from the database. But you can, okay, we can even change, okay, so this is the description. The template allows us to change the view. So once you change the view, you can see the description. So we can see the description here, and it even has the number of beds, the number of bats, and let's go in and do that then. Oh, okay, so this is where it is. So beds should be at property dot number of rooms, shower, that's a shower, at property dot let's say number of bats, and then cars, really, rooms. So we also have number of toilets. Let's just use the toilets there. That's property dot number of toilets. So that's how it works. And that's it. Let's test this and see if we are going to get the correct display. Okay, so come back to index. Okay, so this one has 466, which is correct. And when we change the view, we can see the description, and we see that this one has 5 beds, it has 6 baths and 6 toilets. 4 beds, 4 baths, and 5 toilets. The next thing we want to do is our price doesn't look too good like this. It's just this long string. Let's try to put commas into it. And if I remember correctly, the way to do that is to come into our code and call toString. So the price, come to the price and say toString of the price, and just put this in here, and 0 and O. Let's see if that works. Let's hit this page again. Nope, I think that should be N0, not NO. Control C. Alright, great. So we're now displaying it properly. So we're now displaying 10 million with the commas and this. And if we want to add what's it called, the Naira symbol to it, let's just see Unicode character for Naira. I mean, you can just use NGN in front of it if you want. So let's take this. I'm simply, can I copy this? I can copy it as text. So I'm simply going to copy the text itself and put it in my HTML. Hopefully that works. Let's see what it looks like. So let's stop debugging again. Run it. And let's come here and see if that works. Awesome. So great, we've not enabled all of this yet, so we haven't configured search or recommendations and all of that. All we've done here is simply be able, or all of this don't do anything, so we can't sort, we can't choose how many properties per page and all of that. We can't paginate, so if you go to the next page, it doesn't do anything. But we're going to get to all of this. But what's important is that we can do this. We're going to be stopping here for today. I think this video is already quite long. Till next time, guys. Your assignment for this video is really to get this done as soon as possible. And you can add an area property to the model if you feel like you want the people renting the house to know how large it is. You can add an area property to our model, create a new migration, run it, and then add the field for it. So when you're adding a property, you can add an area to it. So if you're up to that, I recommend that you try to do it. So it just depends your knowledge. If you run out into problems trying to do it, reach out to me. Oh, great. Well, I'm going to commit now. I'm going to stop running it. Get status, get add dot, get commit m, can display properties and proper HTML. I'm just going to push it to dev. Git push origin dev. Thanks, guys. I hope it's straightforward. Please send me feedback if you feel like I'm moving too fast with my explanation, especially. Just tell me to slow down a bit. If you want me to explain certain things more in depth, I'd prefer you tell me which explanation you did not exactly get. And that's it for today, guys. Till next time.